Now, September is World Suicide Prevention Month, and here in Nigeria, the numbers are sobering. The World Health Organization estimates that nearly 16,000 Nigerians die by suicide each year, with many more attempts going unreported because of stigma, and until recently, even the criminalisation of attempted suicide. The Nigerian government has tried to respond with the National Suicide Prevention Framework launched last year and the Mental Health Act now on the books. But the real questions are, is therapy accessible? Is it affordable? And do people even feel safe enough to seek help?
And we've seen tragic cases from university students overwhelmed by academic and financial pressures to farmers facing economic hardship to celebrities who struggled silently. Beyond the statistics are real people, real families, and real loss. So, can therapy and awareness campaigns actually turn the tide? Or do we need a deeper cultural shift in how we talk about mental health? Let's welcome our guest therapist, Akinosho Samson, to walk us through this. Hello.
Hello.
Which would you prefer, Samson or Akinosho?
Sam.
Sam.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sam.
Thank you.
Yes, hello.
Oh, thank you very much, Sam. How bad is it in Nigeria when it comes to suicide?
It's really bad. In fact, I was going to make an adjustment to the number you quoted.
Please.
It's now 17,000.
7.
So 1,000 added.
Yeah, and those are even the reported cases. There are some that don't even get mentioned because of the stigma and the cultural, implication of saying something like that. That, oh, the chief murdered himself or unalived himself in that way. So those things are not reported. So a lot is happening underground than what is being reported on the surface.
So you say that it is the stigma that is making people not come out.
Stigma majorly, and like you rightly said also, the criminalization of that act now, because we've heard stories of someone trying to kill himself, the one that trended recently, the guy trying to jump, and they came upon him and beat him and all of that. So those things are part of the problem that we're facing.
So I think some people will say that therapy is expensive, so they'd rather just,
Ask the therapist. We have one here. Don't ask me.
But I'm going to say before the word expensive is even considered. That's the so before we have the conversation around it being accessible and expensive, is it being considered by majority of the people? Because we'd rather, God forbid, it away, or it is well it away in this, but or just slap it away or create a meme out of it. The way we're doing it.
There's also the fact that people don't even recognize that they're going through issues and that they need help.
Right.
So how come as Nigerians, Africans, we are not aware that, okay, this has passed, be careful. Now I need help. I need to. When should one know that, okay, I think it's about time to talk to someone professional?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. Thanks for that. I like to say that normal in this our dispensation is a myth. There is nothing normal about the way we've been living for the longest time. Yeah. So there is nothing. One of the things, how you know that is we greet ourselves with suspicion. I suspect you first before even trusting you. It's coming from somewhere. It's the way the economy.
Are you
has been
okay? Are you fine?
Sorry about that. I'm just saying. And you know that it's normal. You meet an artisan and they give you a price, and you know somewhere inside of it there's a programming to counter what that person says in that moment.
Wow.
So there is nothing. So understanding that the way we've lived for the longest time, though it may seem normal, if you've been walking upside down and they create a shoe for your head, then you think that's normal. No, but you're walking upside down regardless. So knowing that the way we live as Nigerians, majorly as Africans, there is a lot wrong with us, but we've accepted. We've sat back and we say that this is the way this has been done. In fact, we've created doctrines out of these things, cultures out of these things. We've created a way of life out of these things. So we have to live around these things. So we have to go back to questioning, why is this like this? And in questioning and self-introspection like that, you will get answers. You will shock yourself. You'll be shocked by the answers. You will find that there's nothing normal about the way.
Akinosho, this is becoming very interesting. Or Sam. Very interesting. I want us to take a break because, first of all, we have to walk our heads through that analogy you gave about the shoe on your head. So let's take
I'm already thinking what size mine will be.
Yeah, what size would your head be? But let's take a short break. It's a very important conversation here. World Prevention Month is this month, September, and we have a therapist in the studio here to walk us through these things. There are many questions that we have, but let's do this short break, and when we come back, we'll go right into them. Back, we're still discussing suicide prevention. It's World Suicide Prevention Month for September, and we have with us in the studio a therapist, Akinosho Sam. He wants us to call him Sam. Sam, thank you very much. Now, I must say that a lot of conversation happened while the camera was not on us. We will not reveal all of it, but it's very interesting because you said everybody has a measure of mental instability.
Yes.
And you told that we need to self-evaluate, introspect.
Yeah.
But it's not a culture that we are,
accustomed to.
She spoke about the fact that therapy is expensive. And for me, that's a big problem because I know firsthand how much therapy costs. And it's not easy. So if everybody, whether irregardless of your class, goes through these mental issues, it's more accessible to people who have the means then. So it's like a big man ailment. If you're poor, you can't afford to be mentally unstable. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
So how can we bridge that?
So, and that's because we're tackling it from when you look for solution when things get really bad, then people who handle the space of healing can charge according to their profession and the education they've gotten. We have to find a way to include these things in our basic programs like schools, secondary schools, universities, have like a symposium where we can talk about mental health. In that way, we can then talk about it to a larger body than just individual therapy. So you are right, individual therapy is expensive because you have to sit through with a professional that has gone through the rudiments of being a therapist or a counselor in this case, and they will charge accordingly. But then that's why we're asking that if there are systems where a lot of people can access it at a time, ask questions in a forum or in a symposium gathering, then people can get better.
So would you say there are levels to the trauma in terms of how people choose to either, have mental illness or suicide? Would you say there are primary stages and all that? Does it grow in terms of...
I don't like to do that grading because of the peculiarity of somebody might be going through something that seems so inconsequential to you and you're wondering why are you going through this, but it's that person's life and it's affecting that person as much as your own issues are affecting you. So there is no grading. But we just need to understand that individually, we are going through some measure of...
So my next question now would be, how can someone identify and say, you know what, I need a therapist? Because some people, they might be going through stuff and somebody else will say and say, this person is not all right. And the person will say, oh, I'm fine.
Another thing is, how can you, that person who's noticing, observing...
say, you know what, I need to go to a therapist. So how do that person get to a point to say, you know what, I don't think how I'm feeling or what I'm thinking is okay? How are there behaviors before they get to that thought?
Yeah, so by the time you're spotting behaviors, it's already too late. I need to tell yourself, if you live in Nigeria, if you live in Africa, the rest of the world, you need therapy. Let's not go through the process of self-diagnosing and say, oh, okay, let me wait for this, because when it gets there, it's already extreme. In fact, when people come to me and say, well, I think I'm fine, I say there's something called preventive therapy. Unpacking the things you've gone through. Some people struggle with rejection and they don't even know it. You might handle rejection a different way. Somebody else handles it with so much, feeling and emotions in that way. So there's preventive therapy, just going through everything you've gone through as a child, your experiences, sitting with someone to say, I went through this. What do you think about this? And that atmosphere of introspection.
How does that help? How does me telling someone, revealing to them the details of my trauma help? It's because I'm a very experiential type of person, and I'm wondering where or how talking to someone can, and I'm sure I'm asking this for a lot of people out there as well, how just talking to someone can actually relieve you of mental issues.
It's like walking into a doctor's office and then you just say, oh, doctor, I'm not feeling fine. Then the next question becomes, what are the symptoms? What are you going through? I always say that sitting with someone is a diagnosis, and the strength of any prescription is in the accuracy of the diagnosis in that case. So that sitting together, that's us unpacking it, trying to diagnose that this might be wrong. This might be wrong. So it helps in that way. So a lot of people have that question, so they come into my DM and say, how does it help just to talk? So in talking, I can pick things from you. You can say something, I can read the pattern.
And what would you do with the information I give?
So my training allows me to tie, from your colloquialism, I can tie patterns and say, this is this. You are so vocal with rejection. So recently I had someone that has the ear bin, and then she listed everything that has been wrong. And I said that this is negatively twisted. That when people ask you, as Nigerians, we sort of receive some trophy explaining our challenges. From that alone, I can tell something is wrong, that your view of life is more negative than positive. Yes. You see, as simple as that is, then I can tell that something needs to be done. Then I told the person, change your language. Then I asked that what has been working. And then she had a lot to say. But you see that cognitive reframing to focus on what has been working. That's the difference.
Sorry, Queen, but Sam, something very interesting just crossed my mind.
Yes.
And it's the matter of privacy.
Okay.
I'm here telling you, I'm bleeding out to you. I'm giving you my guts. I just tore open my intestine, and I'm like, this is me. My soul, things I wouldn't tell another person. How sure am I that that information is safe? So that's another consideration people have. How would it tell person? Why would I tell you?
That person is going to.
I don't even know him.
So in the way I do the work, there are ethical guidelines, of course, to confidentiality. But But I tell my clients that solutions, can be shared. Your story will not be shared. And if it has to be shared, it has to be with your permission.
Right.
That so therapy is that space where it's safe. Yeah, but if it has to get out there, maybe people are going through this, because I make contents too, just to get across to people. I tell them that solutions discussed there can be, but you would never say that, there's a certain person living here and going through this. It will hurt you to see your story out there. Yeah, so that's part of what I do too.
So as a therapist, having therapy sessions for people, how do you, so I don't think I wouldn't say you absorb it. How do you leave it? Because I know that, hearing people's story and, seeing what they're going through can be depressing. Yeah. So how are you? How do you, how do you cope as a therapist with
Which
that?
is a very good question. First off, I like to say that every therapist has a therapist.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was right in my head when I said it.
Yes, every therapist has a therapist. You should have, but there are detachment styles or skills that you learn as a therapist, not to carry on the burden of your clients in that way. It's like the way a very good actor would be in character, and they can take that character with them to the home. Yeah, so you have to find ways to... so I have people say that, I go to the beach to just go scream before going to the house. I call someone, I call my friend, and be like, it's been a lot, it's been overwhelming, and then we can talk through some of these things. And then I have a therapist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I actually know what you're talking about there. That weight of carrying somebody a concern for another person.
Yes.
So recently I met a person who was going through so much, but I had to say to her, I'm so sorry, at this time I cannot carry the burden of concern for you. Because I was also going through so much. And to add another person, and the more people you know, the more you are obligated to want to check up on them or be concerned for them. Now, how are you? It's like breakfast radio or television, actually. You hear so much doom and gloom, you begin to dread life itself. Yeah. So I think even you and I need a therapist for hosting such a show, because it's always about bad news. That's what actually gets the buzz. And we have to talk about it every single time. People don't know that for people like us who have to be here every single day talking about these things, it also affects us as well. Yeah. Because all we can think about is how bad Nigeria is going, who died yesterday, where the world is going. There's always such bad news. So professionally, for professionals, how do we manage these kinds of stressors?
Yeah, like I said the other time, you have to find the detachments.
Let me rephrase. What commitments do the establishment that these professionals work for, what obligation do they have on these individuals in terms of their well-being mentally?
Yes. So part of the HMO packages that people have these days, therapy should be included in.
Nice.
Yeah. Other systems have in-house therapist or counselor with the company or the organization that people defer to, not just the HR, they just go to them and say, this is how I've been doing, these are the things I've been going through. So every establishment and organization should imbibe that as a necessary department now for their members. And you said something really interesting about the work that you do, because eventually these things lose the strength of shock over you, because you've heard so many deaths, and that's not normal.
Yeah,
that's not normal.
I'll tell you something. For anybody who works on radio, this is actually times 3 the effect you get even from TV. Here, you guys can talk about it. But radio, where you have that absence of that visual, you have to create pictures in people's minds. So telling those stories is very, very inimical to your job, and you must tell it well, to the grainiest perspective. Now, knowing all that detail and giving it to people, when the mics come on, you like a human being, but when they go off, it's depressing. It's a roller coaster. It's a big roller coaster.
You're right. I moved from a different industry entirely.
She abides by a different kind of
into here. So I think my coping mechanism would be I'm always laughing, joking and stuff. But I would say, starting reading news on TV, I find out that the conversations I have with my sister changed.
Yeah, it will.
I was lamenting.
There. Switched.
I was screaming, and then one day I was coming back from work and I was crying and I was being grateful because I'm like, okay, I'm not in the area where there's flood. So there's so many things. So that brings my question to, so for people who are not able to find comfort, so people who are in the gutters, the people who are affected by the flood, the disease, all the things we're reporting, and it's always them. How? It's to them, it's like what we're saying is not making sense, because there's really nothing, there's nothing to come out to see, there's no green, there's nothing to come, there's no hope. So how do they find hope? How do they remove those thoughts out of their mind?
Because as a therapist, it's not like as if you're giving them actual solutions to the flaws, to this and that.
So it's more like changing their mindset.
Exactly, which is what I was going to say, that it starts with changing the way you view that particular situation. What causes suicide a lot of times is the hopelessness and the cluelessness as to the next step to take concerning a certain matter. Yeah, so if you can sit with someone that can walk you through, this is also possible. You know the way we say in where I come from, that on a means that there are many streams, so there are many ways to the market. Yeah, just to sit, because when somebody's going through something, they are boxed into that reality.
Right.
You on the outside can then create, because all they know in that moment, what their reality is everything going on with them.
Right.
So somebody else can then say that, yeah, I get that you are boxed up right now in this, but this is a way out of this.
Right.
This can be a way to go, this can be a way to go, and all that, yeah.
I got another, go ahead. We're both excited
I
about
know,
the topic.
right? So I think my question now would be, is there a time frame as to the healing or the mindset change? Because I know someone who has been stuck in a particular bubble. And like you said, it got to a point, I don't know how to help. You know, you had so many dreams, and then of course it didn't work out. It's life. You know, you probably wanted to be a superstar, and then you're probably frying a car or something.
Yeah.
So this
Beauty
person,
pageants to TV host.
this is still amazing. But you know, this person had a dream of playing football.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people. So this particular person had a dream of playing football, and then it did not work out, like literally, and he has been stuck there. We're talking 20 years now.
Wow, that's a long time.
How long do you think it would take for this person to heal? Because it's like everybody has done all the talking they can do. And you know, where you're like, you know, if you had done this when we said this, if you had done this, so now everybody's like, you know what, we're going to leave you because you are not making us feel like we're not doing enough. So how else can we help this person change their mindset?
So in therapy, I don't like to talk about timelines, that it gets to a certain level and this. No, we don't even say that. We don't say healing in that way, complete healing. We say you are in recovery for the rest of your life. That's where relapse come from. Yeah, so people relapse because if the healing was permanent, then there won't be any relapse in the future.
Right.
Yeah, so I always say that you also have to give yourself grace and compassion for as long as you went through it, give yourself the same time. If someone has held a dream for 20 years, it's not something you can convince the person that, okay, this didn't happen, then let's just switch to something else. You have to give them that measure of time too to go through all of these things one day at a time. Yeah, it's a gradual process, one conversation, one different thing to do at this point, just introducing a certain system, operating system to the mind, that this happened to you, well, this is it. And you know what I said before, that a lot of what I do is cognitive reframing. Just trying to change your mind, because that's your operating system. Once you change the mind about something, the rest is good. The person will leave out the expression in reality.
Right.
Very interesting. Let me point to this moment right now. First of all, there's a certain clarity and reassurance in your voice when you speak, and I love that as a therapist. And as a testament, normally when we're on air, we have the producers talking to us constantly. They've said nothing throughout this session, which means that they are actually, quite engrossed in the conversation as well. They're very engrossed in it as well. Aren't you guys? Yes, you are. They all are. But now, to this question here, and it's going to hit hard on some people, how much does tradition, culture, and religion, how much of a factor do they play in people's mental states? Because we're boxed in so much, you have everything happening to you in the environment, and then you now have limitations when it comes to culture, family tradition, and especially religion. And in Nigeria, we're very religious people.
Yes.
And sometimes that takes a toll on your mentality. Oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not good enough for God, or oh, they see me so and so way because I have certain proclivities. So how much of...
And that's a very good question.
We ask good questions here.
Yeah. So I always say that, I said to someone recently that anytime you prescribe deliverance to something that should clearly go into therapy, or someone that should go to therapy, you're being wicked. Yeah, and that's how we've created a system where people can grab onto false hope and say that, oh, God is going to do it. I know God is, I'm a believer myself. Yeah, but there are things to go through. There are people trained to help you go through the work of your mental wellness and all of that. And I would say that not all pastors, like the way we do here, or imam, you grab the mic and just yell at and all that. Somebody said really vocally on TV that if depression is the work of the enemy, and that's a lie.
Oh, wow.
No, it's not the work of the enemy. Yeah, it's just the way we found, because what you don't understand, your mind will find a rationale for it. You'll find definitions to suit, your own understanding and experience of that thing. So yeah, it's a big problem. And tradition caused this problem. Yeah, because we found a way to, the stigma around it.
Yeah.
How would you say that this happened to our dad? Our dad is, I had that experience, watch my dad come back from work, sit down and stare into the ceiling for a long time. Yeah, and occasionally would let out a deep sigh. I didn't know the effect of that, and I became an adult myself, sit by the edge of my bed and let out a big sigh. And I remembered, so that silence has been taught over time. It wasn't actively taught, it didn't tell me to be quiet.
Say that again. That silence has been taught.
Yeah.
And passed down.
Yes.
For generations.
Yes. He didn't sit me down to say you should be silent, but I watched him go through everything and look into the ceiling and come back and go back there. And then I borrowed that. Yeah. And then you can also pinpoint things that you borrowed along the journey just to cope and go through life, and they are all gone. So, so sorry.
Wow.
It's the first time I have no questions, because it's very eye-opening even for me as a person sitting down here hearing all of this. I've had situations in my life, and I've always wondered where help could come from, So I've had certain ideations personally as well, but I'm glad that I overcame that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering how many people who walk these halls who look normal.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Are going through the same. I don't know if Tony, the director, is going through anything. I don't know if Meva is going through anything. But it's a very important conversation to have, and I'm glad that we had you here to have this conversation.
And
thank you very much,
It's
Sam.
good. I think I always say something that, if you don't know something, then pay the professionals to do it. So I think we have to add a therapist to our...
Oh, you are our breakfast extra therapist at this point.
Glad.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much. This was mind-blowing, and,
Thank you for having me.
I'll keep it.
Yeah.
I'll keep it.